Howdy everyone, this is Tricia and welcome to my channel. Today I'm putting together this simple fall wreath. I really enjoy putting it together, made a few little mistakes along the way, but you will see what they are, so keep on watching. Alright, so to get started, I'm going to go quickly through some of the supplies that I'm going to be using, and then we'll go ahead and create our wreath. So I found this, it's about 10-inch diameter wreath form from Dollar Tree, and I wanted a wooden piece, and I also found this little hanging decor, but I'm not going to be using this side. I'll be using the flat. So I need something that just is a nice wood that I can paint, and it's flat on one side. Okay, so what I wanted was the wood also to be either the diameter, or the outside diameter of my wreath, or a little bit bigger, because I don't want that to show in the back. Okay. Now I could opt for putting the wreath in the front, but I'm going to be using a decal. There's some window clings actually that I also grabbed from the Dollar Tree, but I'm going to use this as a decal on the wood, and I want to use this particular one here. I could use a sticker or some decoupage papers to decorate the wood as well, or even use something that maybe you print out on the Cricut. Anyway, this particular decor fits right in here. And if I put this in front and then with flowers and things like that, it's going to cover a lot of it. So I wanted it to show, so I decided that I want the styrofoam in the back. Alright, so on the styrofoam I'll be inserting some florals and some greenery. I just happen to have some scraps of greenery here from left over from another project that I'll be using. I did have these flowers that I did use in a project, and I am reusing them. I have a brand new bush here of some flowers. These I bought them at a store called At Home. And this one as well. Some fall foliage and some flowers in there. And then I got this one from the Dollar Tree. It had a bit more leaves than another pumpkin, but I've used that for another project. So this is what I have left over, and I think it's pretty good. And then I've got some assorted ribbons. I grabbed these from the Dollar Tree. All these little designs, and I have this green plaid, which is very springy, but it's also a color that's being used in, fall. As a matter of fact, that green is right in here in the stem of that. So I thought it was appropriate to use that, and then with these, combined, it'll be nice for fall. And then I've got some string here because I do want to hang my wreath, so I want to add something to it so I can hang it. To paint my wood form, I'm going to be using some acrylic paints. This is a folk art. It is in parchment, the color. And then I'm going to use this Anita's color. This is Espresso Bean. It's just the colors that I'm going to use. Of course, you can use whatever you want. And I think I'm going to also be using a little bit of Mod Podge too, just to kind of seal this once I have it on the wood piece. So that's the only thing I need to grab, and I need to grab some tools, and then we are ready to get to doing this. So let's get to crafting. All right, so I've started by removing this little tag, and I've gone ahead and I put some paper to protect my table. I want to go ahead and start painting it. I did think about removing these little pieces off of here because I thought, well, if I can easily remove them, I can use them for something. But I tried, going under it, kind of prying it off. It's pretty stuck on there, and all I managed to do was chip off some pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave them on there. All right, I'm going to start off with my parchment color, the parchment color paint. Just pour some on here, and a brush, and just brush it on. I'm going to use my scissors here to help me hold it in place because it keeps sliding around on me. All right. Now I want to brush a little bit of that chocolate on the edges. I'll go ahead and pour this on the paper. Just a little bit at a time. I don't want to over pour, and then I'll have so much left over and waste it. So I'm going to put this on a dry brush, and then just kind of brush it in from the edges. You don't have to do this if you don't like the look. You can use a stamper as well. An ink pad is what I meant. I'm sorry, forgive me. An ink pad, and just kind of rub it on the edges for that look, little aged look. I think that's good enough. I'll let that dry a little bit and we'll go to the next step. All right, so here I've got my window cling that I want to use, and I want to use this design right here. I'm just going to go ahead and gently pull on it because I was trying earlier and I was pulling off paper as well. So let's just remove that off of there. There we go. Now I chose a window cling because it was going to have a clear background. All right, this has a little hole up here, so I wanted that to be my top. And I want this somewhere in the middle here. Let me take a look at it. I'm going to lift it up just a little bit because I might have a bow down here and it might overlap over the wood part here. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so now that that's all been brushed down, I want to go ahead and seal it, and I'm going to be using some Mod Podge. You can use some glue that dries clear, like a white glue that dries clear will be fine. Elmer's glue, school glues are fine. I just happen to have this Mod Podge. It's an exterior use, but I don't really care. I paid a lot of money for it, and I'm not about to go buy one that's for indoor use or whatever. I'm going to go ahead and use what I have. It's going to be inside. It doesn't matter if it's indoor or outdoor, but you know, like I said, I bought this for an outdoor use and I want to get my money's worth out of it, so I am using it before it gets all dried up on me. All right, let's brush this on, and then we're going to let this dry completely before we go on to the next step, because I will need to turn this around and work from behind, and well, I don't want to get this stuck on the table. All right, so this is relatively dry. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. And I am going to glue this styrofoam wreath form to the back. And I want to see more or less where it's going to be sort of centered. Right there. I've got my hot glue gun ready, and I'm just going to go ahead and, you know what, I'm going to trace with a pencil the inside here, and then the outside, so that I can see where it's going to rest on here. And then just put lots of glue. I have a little fan on, so I have to move quickly that it doesn't dry up my glue here. Okay, there we go. Carefully lift this because I can feel it pulling off my, yeah, there we go, it's fine. I'll stick it back on here. You know what I didn't do, you guys? Why it came off? Is because I sealed it from the top, not very well, but I didn't even glue this onto here. I just stuck it on there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that on right now. Should I use my hot glue gun? No, I am going to use the Mod Podge. All right, so saw a little bit of a mistake there. Well, it's not a little mistake, it's kind of a big one. So let's move this over, all right, so you can see. All right, let's go ahead and get this Mod Podge or glue on here first, which is what I should have done. Wasn't thinking, I don't know, I guess I was thinking it was a sticker or a decal. I had that in my mind. I kept telling myself, it's a window cling, that's what it's described as, that's what it is. But somehow I kept changing it to decal in my head. Oh, now it's sticking to itself. No problem. I'm making a mess, but everything will be fine. You will not make the same mistakes that I have. I can see the outline of where it was before, so I'll just place it on there. I mean, I could have probably stuck this on here or even painted it after I had the styrofoam form placed on here, since I am kind of trying to do things quickly for the video. I'm not wasting too much time letting it dry like an hour, like you would normally do if you're not trying to get a video finished. Alright, so that is on there. That still needs a little more time to dry, but everything's cool now. I'm going to move along. I want to add some flowers to come out from the styrofoam under here. But let's see, I want to get this flower to come around and kind of be on top of here. So I don't need this little leaf here. And I think I can cut some of this also. Alright, that makes less bulk to have to stick into the styrofoam. So I'm going to push this one kind of off to the side here because it's going to fold and kind of go sideways. So let's push that in. And then we can maneuver by bending it a little bit better. I think that's good. Now I want it to stay in front of this wood here, and I don't want it to move from that position. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue right on here so that petals can stick, and that'll hold it in place. Okay, you can do things like that to maneuver things to stay where you want them. I'm going to add the leaves afterwards. So let me get another flower. I want this one around here, and I need enough of the stem to come up in front of it and then under, and then kind of enough to insert into the styrofoam. I'm going to cut this one a little bit shorter because the other one I left it still a little too long. Even after I trimmed it, it was still a little too long. Okay. And then insert. And this styrofoam is a little bit harder. So if you're having problems inserting something in the styrofoam, you could use your hot glue gun. So, like, push in a little hole, create a little hole for something. All right, now I'm going to put one over here. I want to cut it even shorter. For some reason, this one feels harder. Okay, about right here. I had made a hole, but that wasn't in the right place. So let's make another hole. I'm going to pour glue in the hole, and then I can just push the stem in there. There we go. I don't want to make the hole too deep with my glue gun because then I don't have anything to push my stem into. It'll be too loose. Like the hole will be too big. Okay, so just don't make your holes too big on your styrofoam. You don't want the stem to be too small for it. All right, just a starter hole basically. Okay, just a little bit of glue there so the flower doesn't move around on me. Little petals to stick there. And that's what I've got so far. Alright, so I'm just going to cut off the little leaves that are on this stem here so that I can use them in different places. Alright. Alright, so I'm going to take my next stem of flowers. I'm going to push up all the green on this. On this one I can slide. Oh my goodness, I am so tongue-tied. Alright, on this one I can slide the greenery, and I'm just going to cut it at the longest length. Just in case I don't use all of these stems, I'll have them at their longest lengths to possibly use for another project, and I may need that whole length. So I never want to cut them like super short, and then I can't use them on something else. Alright, so I've got all these pieces that I can use. Let's see, do they all have 3 flowers? This one has 2, these have 3, 2, this one's missing 2, and 3. Okay, so we can do a little bit of maneuvering. Wait, hold on. I was putting the 3s over here. These are my 2s. Okay, I'm going to get 2 of the ones that have 3 in them. I might use all of these. I'm going to put right around here. So I'm going to trim this off. I'll do the same with the other one. same amount. So whatever I do on one side, I'll do on the other. They don't have to be exact, okay? Glue in the stem. This feels hard enough to push into there, but you never know. There we go. Alright. And then I'll just bend this, just kind of manipulate it where I want it to be. Next, on the other side. Now I'm going to add some of these that have just 2 flowers, and I'm going to put them in between, like these 2 and then these 2. So again, I'll need 2 pieces. And I think I'm going to dig my hole in there without any glue first. Yeah, there we go. And then I'll just add glue on the outside here. That'll be fine. One more with 2 flowers. And then I've got this lovely bush, and I want to just cut some, and you can cut them all off at the same time. This one won't slide up. They're on these, fixed positions. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut right above the knob of one of them, and this one I'll leave it alone. Do the same with the next bit. Make 2 stems out of that. All right, let's add these. I want to add one of these tall red ones over here, but I don't need it to have all this length. All right, let's get some glue on it. Or I could push it in first and then add the glue, but okay, I already did it this way. All right, let's push it in. And I like that the sign's a little bit bigger because I'm not going to worry about covering the wreath on the sides here, right here, because it's going to be hanging and I'm not going to see it. It's going to be too close to the wall. You won't see the styrofoam, but if you want to go ahead and put moss on there, you can, or cover with some ribbon or whatever you want to do. Okay, because this is kind of wobbly and it won't stay up here, I'll just kind of maneuver it into this other little flower, and then maybe I'll add a little bit of glue so it sticks something to some leaf there. That's good. Oh, no, this one's doing fine. All right. Okay, so that's nice. And then I had all these little pieces. I'll go ahead and add some down here. Let's see. I don't mind this kind of coming out downward. That's nice. And add some body to the wreath going down this way. I wanted to put a bow right here, but I decided these flowers would be here, and I think I want to put a little bow on the top instead. There we go. Gorgeous. I love it. All right, so I've got a couple more here, and I want to go ahead and use those. And I was going to use them way up here, but there's going to be a bow here, so I think I'm going to put them right around here under this flower here. So bring in some of this like orangey down some more over here. And then just kind of let it stick out like that. That looks really pretty. All right, just trimming a little bit. All right, so here I've got the flowers I'll put there, and then this is where I want to decide if I want to add more flowers to it or if this is enough. I think that's enough. All right, so I do have some greenery. I have these that are from these flowers here, and I probably don't need so much of it, and I'm probably not going to stick too much of it into the styrofoam. So let me see which little branches I can use, because I think they're like really bushy, so I might want to, like for example this one, let's cut it off individual leaves. Like something like that. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and just add some glue here and then kind of glue it underneath this flower here, okay? I think it'll cradle it. Like that. the other leaf that I cut off, I'll do it on the other flower opposite. Said you don't have to be exact, so you're kind of putting whatever you're doing on one side, you're doing it to the other side, but you don't want it to be like, oh, super exact. You know, you want it to have a little bit of natural look to it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the rest of these little bits off of here. Might use those. Let me get these out of the way so they're not distracting on the table. All right, so I've got some small leaves here. I want to take this piece right here and glue that in here somewhere. I think that'll be good right there. Kind of also cradling this flower. So now that I've got it where I want it, I'll just add some glue in there. And it's kind of sticking just to the other stems that are already going into the styrofoam. And then I'll put a little bit on this leaf here so that I can go ahead and get the petals of this flower on it. There we go. And then I can go around doing the same thing. I've got another two that I can separate. Two bigger ones and then two smaller ones that I can separate. Kind of folding on me. That's okay. I'm going to put it, I don't know if that's too much. Yeah, I'm going to put this one in here. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to completely cut off any stem so it'll be flat. And I'm going to put glue on the back and then just going to stick it to the edge of my little wood plaque in there. And I'll do the same with the other big leaf piece, like that. And then I've got two small ones and I'll do the same thing, just cut off the stem and then just glue wherever. There. There. That looks great. Okay, now I've got these leaves that were with this big flower. I can cut off also from that. I'm going to put some glue here because I'm going to tuck this behind this flower. This will help highlight this flower because it's kind of like, you know, just kind of there in the openness. So let's do the same thing on this side to this one. All right, let's do some more of these leaves. I've got 2, 3, and 4 more. I'm going to just the same, add some glue on the front part, and then I'm going to go behind the wood plaque and glue them there. Oh, where did I put it? I already forgot. Oh, let's put it down here. Okay, I see a little spot. Okay, I'm just putting it now where I see like little gaps. All right, so I have this little one here with 2 pumpkins, and then I have these little leaves that I do want to use. Let's reserve those. I think I want these little pumpkins coming off of the bottom here, and they're going to be resting right on those dark leaves there. So I'll add some glue there. I'm going to cut off a little chunky part off this leaf behind the little stem and put it right in there. Highlight that little pumpkin a little bit. So, alright, I've got 4 more leaves that I want to use, but I want to put a bow up here on the top first. So let's do that. Alright, so I wasn't recording. What I did is I cut a nice long piece of string to put there that little hole. Now I know it had a little rope, little rope string or twine already in there, but it was short, and I thought, well, you know what, I think I want a bigger piece because I don't know where I'm going to hang it from yet, and this gives me some room to decide, you know, if I need to shorten it, I can just, you know, knot it a little bit lower, or, you know, maybe the length is what I need. It also reminds me not to put anything right there because I can always take it off if I need it to be even longer. But that's okay. I think this length is fine. Okay, so now I want to make a bow. So I've got some ribbon here. Let's move that over. And then I've got all of these cute little ribbons. So we're just going to use a ton of this. And I think I'm going to do, I'm not going to do my loop bows. I'm just going to do where, you know, you cut a bunch of like little strands of ribbon. A lot of people do that, so I think I'm going to try that. I do have a little chenille stem. It's just a piece. It's not the whole 12 inches. It's about maybe 6 or 8 inches. Anyway, so I'm going to use that. So I think I'm just going to cut, I don't know. Let's see. What you can do is you can just measure according to what you think is going to fit in the space you have. I've got about maybe 10, 11 inches here. Of course, once it all gets all gathered together, it gets a little bit shorter. So I'm going to cut, I don't know, maybe 3 of this on the same length. I'll do the same also with the other ones in the same length. They're not exactly the same size. I'm just cutting whatever. All right, so I think I'm just going to cut on these. I'm going to cut the ends kind of like at an angle. So just do that. All right, and this one I am going to fold in half and do the dovetail cut. Like so. Do the same over here on the other ends. Okay, and you know what? I'm going to cut some twine. So now grab them all and just stack them however. I'm going to alternate, like, you know, the plaid, the mushroom, and then the little pumpkins. Plaid, mushroom, pumpkin. All right, then I'm going to put them all together. Try to get them sort of centered with each other. All right, squish them, pinch them, and what I think is more or less the center. A little bit more that way, yeah. And then I'll put my, I know there's probably a better way of doing this, you guys. I don't normally do my bows like this. I do loops, but I decided that I wanted to do it this way. I should have looked at how people are actually doing it. Okay, if I didn't do it how somebody else does it, this is a new way of doing it, and it all works out because look at that. Look at that. And then you can just move them around as you need, but I'm going to leave them like that for now because I need to glue this down. And I'm going to take the ends and kind of twirl them down and flatten them. Like so. I always do this to flatten that up. A little coil. And then I'm going to put glue kind of underneath it. So I want it to glue to the ribbon and then on the coil of chenille. And I said I don't want to glue here where I'm going to cover this little hole. So I'm going to go just a little bit under it. And then I'm going to wait for that to dry. So let's come back. All right, so I am back. This is dry, so I'm just going to feather out the ribbons. I should start from the back, these bigger ones here. I don't want to cover my little, I want to say decal, well my decal, my window cling, whatever, the sticker, whatever design you put on there. I mean, after hindsight, when I think about it, I put this up high because I thought I'm going to put a ribbon or a bow right here. And I thought I'd put this up high. But then I decided that no, I'm going to put the bow on the top and flowers here. But this sticker that I put on is still a little too high. So I'm going to suggest that you center it, because then, you know, things around it are going to cover it. And it was pretty, you know, easy to, you know, see it because I'm just going to kind of fold this a little bit like that, kind of crinkle it. I like that look when the ribbon gets a little crinkled. Yeah, so when you're doing it, just put it down, you know, put it down centered so that you can actually see. Now these don't have any ribbons, so I can't really shape these to stay at a certain position. All I can do is kind of fan them out a little bit and hope they don't turn, you know, where I can't see the little design. I don't want to see the raw back of it. Okay, so that's it for there. And I was saving these little leaves because I thought I was going to put them in the bow, but that's enough there. But I am going to use them on here somewhere, so I'm going to cut off all of the little stem and just leave a little leaf. Put a little glue behind it. And just kind of put it on the edge here, where it's kind of facing into the wreath. You don't want to cover the design, whatever you do on it. So I'm just going to do a little bit like that. They're not really needed. You're going to want to look around Maybe these leaves would have been better placed, you know, on the styrofoam on the side to cover that. So you're going to look at your wreath from every angle. And maybe these little leaves that you have left over, if you have any, can be used to cover, you know, the styrofoam here on the side. But I feel because I stuck the stems in there, they're covering, so I'm looking at it and I don't feel like that's going to be seen. I don't know of anyone that's going to rest their face on a wall so they can look back there, or on a door so they can look back there. So I think that's perfectly fine just the way that it is. All right, here we go. All right, everyone, my wreath is complete. I really enjoy putting this together. It was super easy, just a little time to allow things to dry. And of course, I made a few little mistakes, but you saw what they were and you can correct them when you do yours if you choose to do so. All right, everyone, so I'm going to give myself a big old thumbs up, and I hope that you too will give me a big old thumbs up and leave a kind of comment down below. Let me know what you thought of my project for today. Is this something you think you will be doing? Please let me know if you have any ideas of something that you would like to see for future videos. And if you're enjoying my video and other videos, please subscribe and hit all notifications so that you will get notified as soon as I upload a video. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting my channel, and as always, enjoy.